Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unwanted Opinions podcast. Jay and I are back here on a Thursday. Going to go over some win totals for some AFC East teams and some AFC West teams. Jay and I did this last year, not to toot our own horns, but we were pretty close on a lot of these teams going over under. We look at all their schedules, we decide what Vegas put them at their win total, and we say if they're going to win more games or if they're going to win less games. So tonight we're doing two divisions, AFC East, AFC West. Jay, how you doing, man?
Good. I'm sitting here trying to think about who I whiffed on the most last year. Probably, I already know, it's the Falcons.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because we both thought Atlanta was going 12-4, 13-3, and then ended up going 7-9.
Yeah, that was my biggest whiff.
It was for
far.
sure. I'd say it was them, and then probably Cleveland, because I think we both thought they were going to win 10 games.
Yeah, but they ended up winning.
I think they won 6 or I think they went 6-10.
Yeah, so we weren't super far off.
I mean, 4 games is
yeah,
quite
that's true. That's a quarter of
that's kind
games.
of a lot. Yeah. But before that, I just wanted to ask you a few things, Jay, about this NBA return.
All right.
I saw today that 40 to 50 NBA players are up in the air about whether or not they want to go to the bubble in Orlando. Now, it's been reported from Woj that these players are on teams that they don't think they can win a championship. So maybe it's guys from the Wizards, the Magic, the Suns, the Spurs. I don't even know the Nets. Do the Pelicans realistically think they have a chance to win the title? Probably not. They think they can get in the playoffs, but probably not win a title. So
maybe they're all young and hungry. Maybe they truly believe they can.
Utah's just kind of took a shit after, from the beginning of the season. Since the whole beef with Gobert and Mitchell and now Bogdanovich being out, maybe there's a couple guys on that team. I don't know. It hasn't said who the players are, but what do you think about that? I don't know. I just think that's weird because I feel like the bubble will be really safe once they get there because they're going to stay on top of testing. And as soon as somebody's tested positive, they're out. They're going to be quarantined for 14 days, and they can't come back until you get a negative test 2 different times. So I feel like this whole thing's going to be extremely safe once you get there.
Agreed. And I feel like I would need to know who the players were that didn't want to play, because if it's a bunch of backups and role players on not so great teams, I don't care.
Exactly.
If Giannis doesn't want to play, or if Luka Doncic doesn't want to play, something like that, then I'm more concerned. But as of now, they haven't reported anything on who it is. I'm going to be hopeful that all the stars want to keep playing.
I think the stars do, and also they still have over a month to get this all figured out, like the testing, because what the NBA really tried to do was just get their dates set. I'm almost positive they don't have everything mapped out of what they plan on doing. They just have their dates, because if they didn't get their dates, there was no way they were going to be able to finish the season or even come back. So they had to map out a timeline. So from now up until July or June 30th, when all the teams report to their own practice facilities, they got a lot of stuff to do on figuring out how they're going to do all this testing, how they're going to keep players safe, who's allowed in the bubble, who's not allowed in the bubble, where they're allowed to go. They still have a lot of logistics to figure out.
Yeah, there's no way they have it all figured out, because I think just today they are proposing to jump it up a day from the original start date.
Exactly.
So less than a week has gone by, and they're already trying to alter their original plan. Mm-hmm. So nothing's set in stone yet, just a guess. They're just trying to have their ducks in a row as close to perfect as possible, and then go from there.
Yeah. A guy you mentioned, Luka, did you see that his trainer came out and said that Luka's not in the greatest shape right now?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
I see James Harden lost some weight. You just told me before the podcast that Nikola looks like
the Joker, man. He looks like he dropped at least a good 30 pounds.
You told me he looks like Porzingis now,
he's
which
got like
I don't think I don't like it for him.
I was going to ask what you thought about that, because that's kind of his game, where
down low.
Yeah, I know he likes to play up around the top, and you could see at the end of last year that he just ran out of gas. But I just feel like he could have got toned up at that weight instead of dropping about 30 pounds because you just
Exactly.
need to look.
Don't
You just
get
need to Google him.
skinny.
Yeah,
I'm going
and
to.
just look at the
Actually, you
picture of
keep
him
talking. I'm going to look him up right now.
because I when I saw him, I was like, I feel like he probably could have kept on about 10 more pounds and just got like big, like just got a lot more fit and chiseled. And because I mean, you obviously they can do that. I mean, you see these athletes all over the world that just are able to stay at 250 and just are rock solid. Like a guy, I mean, not everybody has the frame of LeBron or a Dwight Howard, but you see guys out there that are still beefy. They're in tremendous shape. It's just Jokic just looked like he just lost a shit ton of weight. I don't know if he was not eating much or if he was working out 4 times a day since he had nothing to do and couldn't go outside and couldn't go to the gym or whatever it was. But I mean,
I see a picture of him
stayed in
in
good
his
shape.
street clothes talking to a girl, and he does look like Porzingis.
Yeah, that's the photo because he was at I don't know, he was at some gym when the video got leaked of him.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I think you should have kept that weight on. Maybe not like you said. Maybe tone down a little bit, lose a little bit of body fat.
Yeah.
But don't lose 30 pounds
Because
at
I mean,
your position.
that's part of his game. I
I agree.
I don't know how. And then Jamal Murray a few days ago came and said out that the Nuggets feel like they believe that they can go out and win a championship. I don't buy it, but I think they'll be a fun team to watch because they always are.
I don't buy it either, but at the same time, it's not
And
like they have a bad team.
They also they're good. They're a good team, but they're one of the teams I think is hurt from this because they don't get to play in Denver where they have a really good home court advantage.
Yeah, and we talked about we only have a handful of teams we believe can actually win it all, and they were not one of them.
No, they were not. They were. It's just if they can get there, Jamal Murray's going to have to take that next step because he just hasn't yet. So
he's not there yet.
No, he's not. All right, let's get to these. Well, what the beef of this podcast is going to be the over-unders. Let's start in the AFC East. So you wanted to start with the Bills?
We can start wherever you want, but I'm going to tell you right now, what I did was I have a lot of this mapped out, but I want to, for each team, I wrote like a couple sentences. I have a lot of stuff around it we can go off of, but I mean, for each team, I wanted to put down a quick thought on why I have their record the way it is. So There's a couple points for each team, and then I want you to kind of tell me what you think of my statement.
All right. You know what? Let's start with the Patriots. They won that division last year.
Okay.
They're the division winner. Their over-under is set at 9. As we know, Tom Brady is no longer with the New England Patriots, and they, as far as everybody says, they plan on going with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. What do you got him at, Jay?
I think this will be fun too. I want to guess if you pick the over, and I want you to guess if I pick the over.
I'm going to say
for each team.
Okay, let's start with you want me to guess first?
Yeah. What do you think I did?
I'm going to say you stayed even at 9.
Nope, I went over. I took 10.
Okay.
I have him at 10 and 6.
Okay.
And I'm going to say you also went over.
I actually have them at even. I actually have them at 9 and 7.
Okay. I mean, 9's a good number.
Yeah. And I mean,
Vegas
since they added an extra playoff spot in the AFC, that's still potential they could get there into the playoffs at 9 and 7. It's very possible.
Yeah, so I have them at 10 and 6, which would be a 2-game step backwards from last year's record, but still hitting the over.
Mm-hmm. And I could easily see them going 9 and 6 or 10 and 6. I just think they have a tough stretch in the middle of their season where they play the 49ers at the Bills, at the Jets, first the Ravens, at the Texans, Cardinals, at the Chargers, at the Rams. That's a tough 7-game stretch right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I know they
You
got
want to hear
really
my
good
statement
defense,
on them?
so let's hear it.
I just put down Jarrett Stidham's not as big of a drop-off as some might think, and I still believe Belichick, the defense, and that run game can still win them 9 to 10 games in a weak division full of young quarterbacks.
I believe it. Like I said, I've got them at 9 and 7. They're last year's division winners. So that defense, they were number 1 in points allowed last year. They really didn't lose that many pieces. And again, until Belichick proves that he can't run a defense,
even run a team without Brady.
Or run a team without Brady. There you go. I mean, I'm gonna stick with what I know and how he's the best defensive mind that's ever coached in the NFL.
Agreed. And you kind of hit it on the head. Yes, I know Tom Brady, a lot of people think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, so he's a big loss, but you also have to remember he was in year, 20?
Yeah, he was 42 last year. You saw
So it's not
games.
like you're losing him in his prime.
Had
And
they
then the other
had
guys around him, you're
a,
losing.
an elite quarterback last year, they probably go 13-3 or 14-2 because of how good that defense was. That defense kept them in every single game. That defense flipped the field for them multiple times. So why can't they do that again for a Jarrett Stidham?
Exactly. And the main pieces they lost in this offseason were defensive guys,
Yeah.
but they weren't all stars. They were just good role players for that team that I believe Bill will easily replicate with other players. And I mean, it showed when he went out and got a lot of their replacements in the draft. They went out and got Kyle Duggar. The safety was from Lenore Ryan.
Yeah,
and they got Josh Uche, a linebacker from Michigan, and another linebacker edge guy in Anthony Jennings out of Alabama. So I believe they didn't really lose anybody that key besides Brady. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's a huge drop-off from him, and I believe Belichick's such a good defensive mind and coach. The guys that they lost to free agency, they will pretty well easily replace them this next year.
And, I mean, basically they've owned this division, and like you said, they still have all three teams most likely are starting first, second, or third year quarterbacks. The Bills with Josh Allen, Sam Darnold for the Jets, and if it's Tua for the Dolphins, if it's Josh Rosen, or if it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Patriots have basically owned this division forever. So until, I mean, you got to beat Goliath. I mean, you just do. They've been up at the top for a while. Now, I actually think, let's go to the next team, the Bills. I actually think the Bills win the division.
I knew you'd take the over on the Bills. They're over-under set at 9.
Yes, it is. And I took the over at 10. So I do think they actually win the division because I really like what they've done. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. Getting him Stephon Diggs, getting A.J. Epinesa in the second round, I think that was a huge, huge piece for their defense. Sean McDermott is amazing on the defensive side. You just got the Josh Allen more comfortable in that offense for the second year under Brian Daboll. So I just think the Bills are a good team. I do.
I do think the Bills are a good team.
I'm going to guess you took the under then.
I took a push like you did with the Patriots. I have them at 9, so I have the Patriots winning this division at 10-6 and the Bills at 9-7.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the Bills are a better team, but like you mentioned, one of the stretches for the Patriots schedule, the Bills' second half schedule. Did you look at it?
It's tough. Chargers, Niners, Steelers, Broncos, Patriots.
Yeah. I think they could hit a wall and go down fast, and then when you lose 3 or 4 games in a row, it's kind of hard to come back from that. But they have a tough. My statement here was tough second half schedule, solid defense with a good run game. But Josh Allen is what he is in my eyes, and I think 9 to 10 wins is the more likely outcome.
So you don't think there's going to be any improvement from Josh from this year to opposed to last year? You think he is what he is, and there's no better version of Josh Allen?
Could be. Even with I don't think he's ever. I've told you this a million times. I don't think he's ever going to be elite or like a top 10 guy. Okay. So even with him being like a 12 to 15 type quarterback, I still think that's a tough stretch.
It is. It's an extremely tough basically 5 of your last 6 games, and back-to-back weeks you go to Denver and to New England.
When the Patriots lost Brady, immediately jumped the Bills to the top of the division and had them at just sweeping over this division with 10, 11, 12 wins. Maybe not 12, 10 or 11 wins. And I think when Vegas put their over-under at 9, that should tell you something.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they won 10 games last year. I've got them winning 10 again this year. I do think they're the better team than the Patriots just because I just like their makeup. And I'm a believer in Josh Allen. I believe that he will I think he's better than Jarrett Stidham, and I believe he will improve from last year to this year. So that's the reason why I have them winning the division at 10-6. And I'm a big believer in their defense. I did kind of like the draft. I told you, A.J. Epinesa that was the perfect landing spot for him where he could fit in, because I believe he could have failed on a lot of teams and been a bust, but he went to a very good situation. I like the running back Zach Moss that they got. They lost a very, very old Frank Gore, but whatever. The thing that kind of bothered me was they lost some key guys on their defensive line, I thought. I know Shaq Lawson hasn't panned out to this point. Jordan Phillips was a rotational guy. Corey Leggett's been a pretty good player for him, but I mean, he was old. I don't know how much of a loss that is.
Lorenzo Alexander retired. I
Yeah.
forgot the dude was even in the league.
Yeah. I mean, he was another extremely old player. Yeah.
But you can tell they want to run the ball.
Yeah.
That's why they brought in Zach Moss to basically replace Frank Gore and pair him with who the hell they draft last year?
Devin Singletary, who
yeah.
took off the last half of the season. I mean, he looked like he really was hitting his stride and just playing good football.
I remember that I think they got Darrell Williams from Carolina.
I believe
Brought in Mario Addison,
yes.
Vernon Butler. So they got some guys. Like I said, I think they're a good team. I don't want to buy into the hype train just yet. I think 9 to 10 wins is a solid season for them.
It is. And again, if they go 9-7, that's another shot. They can hit that 6th or 7th wild card seed. So there you go. Could be another year for the playoffs in Buffalo. All right, let's move on to the Jets, whose over/under is set at 7. Jay,
What do you think I did?
Okay, I'm gonna say you took the under.
I did. I have him at 4-12.
Wow. All right. What do you think? Where do you think I went?
I believe you took. I think you have him at 6-10.
I do.
You would have took the under.
That's exactly what I have them at, is 6-10. Yeah.
Yep.
Again, I mean, did you see their first 4 games to start the season?
Yes, I did.
At the Bills, 49ers, at the
you
Colts,
don't even have to just
Broncos.
start just the first 4. My thing I typed out for them, my statement was, kiss this season goodbye. Good luck on Murder's Row with that schedule.
It's tough. They really do have and I said their first 4. Then you got the Cardinals. Then you have to travel to the Chargers. You get the Bills again. Then you travel to the Chiefs, the Patriots. And you finally, in Week 10, I don't even know if you could call it the easiest game so far, at the Dolphins. But it's possible that they fucking lose that game too.
Yeah.
I mean,
their
a tough schedule.
Is rough.
And offensively, I still don't like their weapons. They brought in Denzel Mims. They got Mekhi Becton. But, I mean, those are 2, maybe your second and third best players are rookies, and they haven't played it down in the NFL, and you're counting on them to be super productive because unless Le'Veon Bell turns into the Le'Veon Bell from Pittsburgh, I mean, they made it just straight up overpaid for that guy. And Sam Darnold.
I don't know if the locker room believes in Gase. What made me think of that is because you talked about Le'Veon Bell, and there were rumors when they signed him last year that Gase didn't even want him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Gase has the locker room behind him. I'm not a huge Sam Darnold guy. I think he's good. I think he's average to a little bit above average, but nowhere near elite. So when you're going to rely on a rookie wide receiver to be your best wide receiver, you bring in Brashad Perriman, who has had basically one good season.
If that.
You lost Ty Montgomery. You lost your best receiver in Robbie Anderson and Demaryius Thomas last year. I know Thomas was hurt a little bit, but you lost 3 decent NFL receivers and are replacing them with a rookie and 1-year wonder in Brashad Perriman. And I wouldn't even call him a wonder, a 1-year solid.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a 1-year wonder either. I mean, he was a first-round pick. He's definitely not lived up to being picked in the first round. And again, how many times are we going to hear Jamal Adams is about to be traded? I feel like every single week it's Jamal Adams is getting traded. They're not going to extend Jamal Adams. They're just going to trade him. And then he gets pissed. He tweets something out because he's mad that they won't treat him like he's a superstar. I mean, first of all, that's just the nature of the business. Get over yourself. You're not untouchable, Jamal Adams. You're a very, very good player. But if somebody's offering them 2 first-round picks, I mean, I think the Jets would take it in a heartbeat because he's not.
Agreed.
I mean, it's not like they're 6-10. What were they? 7-9 last year.
They went 7-9.
And he played every single. I mean, is he going to turn your whole season around? No. So that just kind of frustrates me. And I'm not even a Jets fan. I give 2 shits about him, but it's just annoying how much he's in the news for being traded, and then he's mad.
Yeah, and I don't understand what they're doing because last year there was a viral hit where Sam Darnold says he's seeing ghosts, which basically means his line ain't blocking for shit, and he's getting killed in the backfield and just seeing defenders when they're not there because he's scared of the rush. So what do? You go get him a bunch of average offensive linemen at best in free agency. You got him a bunch of cast-offs and a bunch of low-end starters and high, maybe solid backups. I know they got Mekhi Becton, but he had the biggest bust potential of all offensive linemen. I actually applaud them for getting him. I like the pick, but what I'm saying is you drafted one good offensive lineman, and then you brought in free agency. You had a bunch of money to spend, and you brought in a bunch of low-end guys. Yeah. And just because you got 8 guys in free agency, when they're not good, it doesn't matter.
No, agreed. And I don't like their defense. They still really have no pass rush. Their secondary, really outside of Jamal Adams, isn't that great. They overpaid for Tremaine Johnson. And, I mean, I don't even think he's there. I believe they cut him, so he's not even there anymore. C.J. Mosley, can he stay healthy again? We don't know. I mean, he did something, his groin or his hamstring or something. It was pretty bad, so he was out for a lot of the year. I just don't like their team. I like that they're building, but it's just not, like you said, kiss this year goodbye, because it's just not their year. So
yep.
Let's move on from the Jets. Let's go to the last team, the Dolphins. Their over-under was at 6.5. Jay, I'm going to guess you took the under.
I did, and I'm going to guess you took the under at 6.
I took the under at 5-11. So I do have them finishing last in that division.
I have them at 5-11 as well.
Okay,
but that in my rankings that would be third, because
you have the Jets at 4-12, and I have the Dolphins at 6-10. So I think the Dolphins finished last. Again, this is the Dolphins' plan. I mean, they went and got their quarterback. They got guys to protect their quarterback. But I see these people expecting Tua to come out and win 9-10 games. That's just unrealistic. First of all, I don't even know if he's going to play at the beginning of the season. Is he going to be officially ready to go with that hip? Who knows? And if he is, expecting 9 or 10 wins out of this guy who's never thrown the ball in the NFL, it's just stupid, because their roster really isn't that great. They're building in the right direction. I like the trend the Dolphins are going in, but again, I'm not buying that they're going 10 wins already with Tua as a rookie starting in the NFL. I'm just not buying it.
Agreed. My statement was, outside of Byron Jones, who was a big signing, in free agency and in the offseason, they lost a bunch of average players and replaced them with a bunch of average players. They had a good draft, but a team relying on young guys usually doesn't win a lot of games.
No,
and Tua might not even play, and we've seen what Fitzpatrick is. So I don't know where all the hype is for this season. I like what the Dolphins are doing, setting themselves up for future success, and I even like their draft. I think people's expectations on this season are way too high, because everyone believed the team was tanking last year and they won 5 games.
Yeah. I'm not sold on them being a good team this year. And again, I mean, you still have 2 better teams, in my eyes, 3 better teams in that division. I don't really know if the Jets are a better team. It's just how their schedule laid out. I think they win one more game. That's not saying that they're better. But the Patriots and the Bills are definitely 2 better teams. They've got a better quarterback situation. Both teams do. They've got better defenses. They've got better offensive lines, better coaches. So
I mean, last year their defense was atrocious.
And I'm a fan of Brian Flores. I think he's going to be a good coach. It's his second year. Just give it some time. They're in the process of becoming a good team if they continue to draft well and sign quality players in free agency. It's just not yet.
Agreed. I'm right there with you.
Okay.
I mean, last year they gave up 494 points.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, the Patriots gave up 225. So they almost doubled what the Patriots gave up. Granted, the Patriots defense last year was fucking stellar.
And I mean, I still am not a huge fan of the Dolphins pass rush either. I mean, who are they getting after the quarterback with?
Exactly. They brought in Shaq Lawson.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Ogbah and Kyle Van Noy.
Okay. Who are they getting after the quarterback with?
Exactly. And then they waited until like their 5th or 6th round or something to draft like Jason Strowbridge out of UNC, I think, and Curtis Weaver out of Boise. So it's not like it was a big get for them, a splash guy. They went out and got Byron Jones, and who we didn't even mention. Who even knows if Xavier?
Are his legal issues still up in the air? Xavier
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't either. But so we'll see.
He was a good quarterback when he was playing, but I don't even know if he's going to be on the field.
He's a really good player, but exactly, if he's behind bars, he can't do anything.
So
I don't know if it was that serious where he's going to jail, but I think wasn't it? Was it domestic violence?
I don't remember what it was, honestly. I just know it was a big charge, and I remember people saying that he might not even play.
Yeah, I know. So we'll have to see about that, whether he's on the field or not. But all right, let's move over to the AFC West. All right, Jay,
the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, they're over under set at 11.5. I'm guessing you took the under at 11.
Fuck no, I took the over. I have them
Ooh,
at 13-3.
okay. I took the over as well at 12-4. I guess I didn't let you guess, so sorry about that.
Yeah, you're an ass for that. It's like my
But
favorite part.
did you just take a look at their schedule?
I did,
Their schedule is very favorable. They got a lot of their good opponents at home.
which is odd for a Super Bowl champ.
Yeah,
You're supposed to have a first place schedule.
they do have a first place schedule. I mean,
I know.
they still play. They play Houston. They play Baltimore. They play the Patriots. They play the Saints. So I mean, they got some good teams on their schedule. The Falcons, if the Falcons can show up this year for the first time since 2016, but it's just like I said, a lot of those games are at home. They got a lot of the favorable games at home, which benefits them tremendously.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
My statement was they were last year's Super Bowl winners and still the best team in football to me. They have a ridiculous offense that added Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one of the best running backs coming out, so which is kind of unfair. And then they have their defense played better down the stretch, and neither the offense nor the defense really lost anyone that important.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got in my eyes, I believe Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now. You've got the
Agreed.
best quarterback. You've got all the mojo, the momentum coming off of your Super Bowl win. Got a great head coach. Their only stretch last year where they weren't very good was when they had a lot of injuries. When Chris Jones was hurt, the Tyrann Mathieu was hurt. I mean, their whole offensive line was hurt when Patrick Mahomes was getting hit, when he got hurt a little bit. So when they were healthy, they were chugging at full steam, and they put up 50 points in the playoffs. So, I think they put up 40, 50, and 30 in the playoffs. So there you go. I mean, they could score at will against anybody.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that the Raiders had a pretty high-flying offense last year? It was decent. They put up
at times, because they still had, out of any team, what were they? They finished 7-9 last year.
Yeah.
Out of any team with that many wins, they had the worst point differential.
Yeah, their point differential was ass.
Yeah, so they had good games where they killed people, but then they also got murdered as well.
I just saw this. You want to know a crazy stat?
Yeah.
The Chargers went 5-11, and their point differential. Do you know what it was?
I'm guessing it was positive.
It was not, but it was -8.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah.
They went 5-11, and their point differential was -8. The Raiders went 7-9, won 2 more games, and their point differential was -106.
Yeah, I know their point differential was awful. It was atrocious.
But my point was, the Chiefs put up 451 points last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders put up 313.
Yeah, the Chiefs could score. They put up 28 points in the second quarter against the Raiders last year. They scored 4 touchdowns in 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yep.
They can score will with anybody. And I like
I'm on the Chiefs.
I like the linebacker they drafted, Willie Gay. I think he's going to be a good player for him.
He's an athletic freak.
Yeah, he's the perfect linebacker for today's game. So I just think the Chiefs are. I wouldn't be surprised if they repeat as Super Bowl champs. I know it's really hard to do.
I would take the field.
They're just a really good team.
Just because you got 31 other teams plus,
Exactly.
It's very, very hard to repeat.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's done it since the Patriots back in
03, 04.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Broncos
over under at 7.5. Jay, you and I both really like what the Broncos.
Yeah,
have
we're
done
both
this
taking the over.
offseason.
Let's be real.
Yeah, I took the over. I don't think that's a surprise to you or I that we were.
But
taking
by
that.
how many games?
A game and a half at 9-7.
Okay, I have them at 10-6 actually.
Okay. I wanted to put them at 10-6, but I just couldn't find that 10th victory on their schedule when I went through it, because again they've got a tough schedule too this year. But I know Denver, they have a really good home field advantage in Denver. I think Drew Lock is a really good player. I'm not on the train of him. He's going to win MVP. I think he's getting a lot of MVP hype. I don't know where that really came from at all, but I love their offensive weapons. I like their defense. I like a lot of things about the Broncos. I just think they're going to be a good team.
So do I. I mean, my statement was I'm a believer in Denver. They have followed the young quarterback blueprint, which is get them protection, get them weapons, and get them a defense. And I think Locke looked promising at the end of last year. They won 7 games last year, and I think they're leaps and bounds a better team after this offseason. They go out and get Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. They get him another offensive lineman and Lloyd Cushenberry. They get Albert O, who was the fastest tight end in the draft. So I see what they're doing. They're trying to match Kansas City's speed on paper. and really they might be just as fast as Kansas City. I don't I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
KJ
mean,
Hamler was supposed to run fast. Jerry Judy's a 4.4 guy. They don't have. They got probably the two fastest tight end duo after drafting Noah Fant last year and picking up
probably.
Alberto this year. So they have and Philip Lindsay out
And
of the backfield.
Cortland Sutton, I believe Cortland Sutton was another 4-4 guy.
So they have speed to match Kansas City, and then they go out and get AJ Bouye, Jarrell Casey for basically pennies. They bring in Melvin Gordon to add another running back to the stable. They Denver looks good to me. I think they have a lot of guys that gel together.
I do too. I really like what they're doing, and I've always thought John Elway has done a tremendous job of building a team. It was just he
He
couldn't
couldn't
find the
nail that
quarterback.
quarterback.
I mean, he got Case Keenum, he got Joe Flacco, wanted to give Brock Osweiler a lot of money. And since Peyton, I mean, and Peyton just walked through the door. Basically, he did really. I don't think John Elway did that much to bring Peyton in, but if Drew Luck can improve, and I think he can, I believe they're going to be a good team. They're not as good as Kansas City, and we got to see what Drew Luck's made of. But they're on the right track, like you said. They're doing everything to help a young quarterback out.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to the Los Angeles Chargers. That's probably the first time I've ever said that right on this pod, Jay,
It might be.
because I always want to call them San Diego because they still feel like the San Diego Chargers because all their
They'll
fans
always be
got
the
left
San
in
Diego
San
Chargers.
Diego. All right. Their over-unders at 7.5. It was weird because the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders all over-under was set
I
at
did
7.5.
see that.
I thought that was pretty strange. But anyways, all right. The Chargers 7.5. Where'd you go, Jay?
I went under.
I went under as well.
I'm
At
gonna fuck
7.
you up. You don't let me guess one more time.
I know. My bad. I'll let you guess on the Raiders.
All right.
How far under did you go?
Game and a half. I have them at 6-10.
Okay. I've got them at 7-9.
Okay, so you were right there.
Yeah. I like a lot of the things about the Chargers, except I just don't really like their quarterback situation with Tyrod Taylor. But if he's the bridge for Justin Herbert, because I think at the end of the season they're probably going to throw Herbert in to play a few games. I don't know how late in the season, depending on where their win-loss record is. But obviously Herbert's the future. They just have I think, like you said, their point differential from last year. I know they're going to miss Phillip Rivers and try and put Tyrod Taylor in there, but Tyrod Taylor, I believe, won 9 games with the Bills and took them to the playoffs with a worse roster than what the Chargers have, especially offensively. I mean, you still got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry's back, Austin Eckler, who was just caught like 1,000 balls last year, it seemed like, and their offensive line is iffy. But again, then you got a lot of players on the defensive side. I like the draft of Kenneth Murray to pair with Derwin James, Bosa, Ingram.
They did bring in Brian Bulaga and traded for Trey Turner.
And they brought in Chris Harris Jr. I mean, he's going to be.
But you were dogging on their offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are just have a good team. I honestly forgot they brought in those guys.
Yep.
So
I like their roster. Tyrod, this was my statement. Tyrod is an okay quarterback, and Herbert's still a rookie coming from a system that hasn't been a good translator to the NFL. I think the Chargers win the games against the bad teams and lose to the teams that are comparable or better than them. I like what they have going defensively, but I don't see their offense putting up a lot of points this year, so I'm out on them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not that high on them. They're, like I said, I've got them at 7-9.
Yeah.
I just think their roster is good enough to win 7 games. And I mean, that's not going to get you anywhere in the AFC. They're not better than the Chiefs. They're not better than the Broncos. I do think they're better than Oakland. God,
Las Vegas.
See, there we go. There's another mess up for the
Well, you
Las
just spoiled
Vegas
my
Raiders.
guess, Nick. You're a piece of shit.
So, hey, I just said they were a better team.
Yeah, so you're clearly taking the under 7.5. You're not going to have the worst team win 2 more games.
Are you taking the under on the Raiders too?
Yeah, I'm taking the under. I have them at 6-10 as well, just like I did the Chargers.
I've got them at 5-11. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they're that good of a team. I don't think Derek Carr's John Gruden's guy. I think he wants his own quarterback. It's just they haven't really been in the position to be that bad to where they can draft a top quarterback. Who knows? That may change this year if they're close down to the bottom. Maybe they try and trade up for Trevor Lawrence, or maybe they just full out tank to try and get Trevor Lawrence. Who knows? Or if if they like Justin Fields. I just think they need a new quarterback that's Gruden's handpicked player, and I still think they just need more talent throughout their roster, and that's just something they're going to have to build through the draft.
This is hilarious to me. So, I'm going to read my statement and see if you hear any similarities in what you just said.
All right.
I do like what the Raiders have done this offseason, but I don't think this offense is as good as Denver's or Kansas City's. Now, from here on out, see if you said anything. Maybe they win a couple down the stretch that I have them losing, but if they get off to a rough start, I could see them tank for a top quarterback next year. Gruden is safe, and I don't think Carr or Mariota are his guys, so he might be looking in the draft for his hand-picked quarterback.
It's like one mind, Jay.
Yeah. So I'm with you all the way. I like the Henry Ruggs pick. It definitely gives him some speed. Mm-hmm. I told you I actually like Damon Arnett at Ohio State. I thought he was a pretty solid corner. I wouldn't have taken him in the first round like they did.
He was overdrafted. He's a good player, but he was overdrafted.
And
I agreed to that.
A couple off weapons in Lynn and Brian Edwards, who I know you told me you like Brian Edwards a lot.
I do like that Brian Edwards pick.
So I do think they're doing good things. I think they're building the roster, but I think it's definitely a work in progress. That roster is not there yet, and especially when your head coach doesn't believe in his quarterback.
Exactly. When the quarterback and the head coach aren't on the same page, which if you watched Hard Knocks last year, I think it was very fake between Gruden and Carr. I don't think that's how their relationship actually is. I think that was just for the camera. I don't really think Gruden trusts Carr at all. It's not his guy. It's not who
we talked about the point differential a little bit ago. The Broncos went 7-9 last year, and the Raiders went 7-9 last year. But the Broncos' point differential was only minus 34, which is right around what it should be for a 7-9 team. The Raiders got a 7-9 record with a minus 106 point differential. That won't happen again.
No.
If they go minus 106, they're going 4-12, 3-13, something like that.
Yeah. So I don't even know how they won 7 games last year. The 7 games they won by like 1 or 2 points, and so they're really just not that great of a team. They're not. They're building. They're making some good picks. Some of them are a little head scratching, but I mean, we'll see what they've got. I just think they need a different quarterback because after that year when Derek Carr broke his leg, he just has not been the same guy.
He has not. I mean, what they go 13-3 and he won MVP?
Well, I think
he was on pace.
I think they went 12-4, but it was a very good possibility that he was going to be the league MVP that year.
Yes.
I mean, he was trending that way. They were nobody ever thought they were going to be that good, and then they turned out to be a pretty good team. So, yeah.
Hey, we got through that quicker than I thought we would.
We did get quick through that. It was just, yeah. I mean,
so our plan with this is we'll do 2 divisions per episode. Like next week, we'll probably do the AFC North and South to finish out the AFC.
Yep.
And then the following 4 divisions, the next 2 episodes. And then we'll have a playoff bracket based off of our end-of-season predictions on record. And then we'll go through what we believe is going to happen in the postseason and who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And we'll probably do league MVP and stuff. We like to predict all those things, defensive player of the year, whatnot. It's just fun to do that. Fill some time since we've got time right now and
nothing going on besides the UFC
till the end of July. I did hear yesterday though from the Colts director of marketing and sales, as far as they're aware, the NFL still plans on having a season with fans, full go, no restrictions. That's their plan. That's how they're going for September. That's what I've heard.
Good. I like that. I think they should.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen things open back up. Right now, I know we've seen some states that have increased in cases, but who knows? I don't know. I think we'll have an NFL season. I'm optimistic about it because we've still got some time for them to figure out how to do. I don't know if they social distance people in the seats or if they just allow suite holders or what they do, but I think there'll be fans in NFL games this year.
I hope so.
Or they just may say, come at your own risk.
That'd be solid, like the back of the MLB tickets where it says, you sit down the foul line, you get cracked with a foul ball.
Yeah.
Sorry about you.
If you sit next to a guy that has the coronavirus, but he's not sick, he's just asymptomatic, and you get it, you can't sue us.
Yep. That's a risk you're willing to take. And you know what? I'd take the risk. I really would.
I think a lot of people would. I think you've seen that.
Wear
across
a mask
America.
or something.
Yeah. I think you've seen it because people are taking risks to do things like this, to go out. have a drink, get dinner, go to the IKEA or something. Fuck, I don't know.
We're just not made as human beings to be cooped up and
just,
isolated from everything and everybody.
Yeah, it's just people just give up on it. I think you're still supposed to somewhat practice social distancing, but
yeah, and I get it. If you're 84 years old and have lung disease, yeah, you should probably be a little more cautious than me at 26. So I fully understand there are certain people that need to be more cautious, but the everyday person, I really feel like we've gotten somewhat of a hold on this and figured a way to slow it down and stop the arc from going up and start aiming towards a decline.
Yeah.
And the country's starting to get back to normal.
Yeah, it is, Jay, because we're talking about this last week. We both feel that we've had it and we just didn't know.
I really do.
I think you had
and
it.
I'm not just on here for attention.
Like I told you, I think I gave it to you.
Yeah. Because it happened around the same time.
Yeah, it was early January
that it supposedly made its way over here and had all the same symptoms. They diagnosed it with
I was on
the
a
flu.
cruise ship with people from all over the world, and then I came back and I played basketball the next day with you, and I think I spread it. I do.
Well, I was sicker than shit for a couple of days. So
Same. It was like one of the sickest I've ever been. But then it goes away after like 3 or 4 days and you're good.
Yeah. So maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I'm a carrier. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. We'll get out of here on that.
All right.
Please subscribe to the Unwanted Opinions podcast everywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever. You can check us out on YouTube. All of our content goes there directly after we upload the podcast. So if you're a YouTube guy, go watch YouTube. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay. DMs are wide open. Questions, comments, you can also hit us up via email, unwantedopinionspodcast@gmail.com. Many ways to get in touch with Jay and I, interact with us, so get at us.
Until next time.
Until next time.